Hey everyone, welcome to Our Small Footprint. My name is Nyssa, and if you're new here, we are a large family living off-grid in Australia. Now, we have been doing almost daily vlogging, not quite, but almost for the Christmas season. I've missed a couple of days here and there, especially with the grocery run and things like that, just a bit exhausted and trying to get it all sorted. So today is Monday, and what I'm going to do today is film I am going to do some baking and stuff hopefully today, but I might do a little bit of a day in the, everything that I've got to get done, because there's still a whole bunch of stuff that needs to be done with fruit and stuff from the grocery haul, and some bits and pieces that need to be prepped for later on type stuff. So we'll see where we get, but I'm going to turn the camera on and off throughout the day getting stuff done. So first up, it's already pretty late. It's 10 a.m. I've been up since about 5:30, so I got a video out this morning, and I had to do some transcription typing and some bookwork and stuff like that. I'm now cooking brunch, breakfast, lunch for Darryl and I, and the kids will have what they're having as well. So I'm going to make some hollandaise in the Thermomix. So I thought I'd show you that to start with, because it's one of those simple things that, I love having the Thermomix for, because it just makes something like hollandaise such an easy thing. So I thought I'd show you that first. So I have the recipe up on the screen for the Thermomix, and all we need to do is add 10 grams of water and 10 to 20 grams of lemon juice. Now I forgot to buy bottled lemon juice. Daryl's going to grab some in town for me today, but in the meantime, all I've got is frozen stuff. So I'm actually going to throw that one in there, and I'm just going to warm it a little bit so that gets melted before I start the next process, which isn't the normal thing of things, but I am just going to quickly warm that up. Just do a minute on 80 should be plenty to get that to liquid. Just an added step there that's Then we're going to need 150 grams of butter in cubes. Now, I have made this with Nuddlex perfectly fine as well when we were doing all dairy free, because everyone's tolerating dairy, and because Darryl and I are the ones who are predominantly aimed for this. I'm going to use the really nice grass-fed butter because it's super tasty. So we need 150 grams of this in cubes to be able to be thrown in. I've got my egg yolks already. We've got some salt, some pepper, and that's pretty much all we need. So there we go, the lemon juice is melted in with that. All right, so let's go back to our recipe that we had, hollandaise. So we've got water, we've got lemon juice. We need 150 grams of butter cut into pieces. Melting just as it sits here, 150 grams. We've got our 4 egg yolks. We've got 1 to 2 pinches of salt and a bit of ground pepper. And next, we put the lid on, and it makes us hollandaise. Start, and there we go. So now, while that is doing everything it needs to do, I'm going to grab all the veggies and stuff out. One of today's jobs is to get all this broccoli sorted out of the containers and into fridge containers. So it's been in the its until now, but the icebox is very warm now because the ice is melted and it is hot. But what I'm doing with the hollandaise is I'm cooking some of the little maple sausages that were on clearance. We've got this bunch of asparagus and some broccoli, probably some fried eggs. Kids can have some toast. I might have some toast. Darryl won't, but I might. There was that pane de casa, which would be really nice toasted up, so I might grab that out with a bit of butter. And yeah, we'll just cook up all the veg, the sausages, These are the little maple sausages that were on clearance, and the hollandaise. I'll show you a bowl when it's done. All right, so breakfast, we've got the broccoli and asparagus. We've got a couple of the little maple chipolatas, some of the pane de casa bread with the eggs, and the hollandaise. So a really sort of a fancy but fairly quick breakfast actually. And the kids have got toast and veggies and sausages and hollandaise as well, so they're gonna help themselves to what's left as well, and they'll have lunch later. All right, it is now 12:30, so we've had lunch and then we were tidying up and some bits and pieces that we're getting done after that, which is why I find it really hard to film like day in lives and things like that, because I don't want to film any of that stuff, which is why you end up getting days in the kitchen. So I've got my veggie containers with paper towel and then I'm going to start sorting the broccoli into, but first I'm actually going to roast some peaches. So I've got some recipes that use roasted peaches, some ice cream, and I think there was a salsa that I did once with roasted peaches as well. And in this heat, we don't have enough room in the fridge for everything to go in the fridge, and some fruit isn't very nice after it's been in the fridge either. So we need to get these things frozen or processed or whatever fairly promptly. So peaches are something that I know that if I roast them, I can use them for things. Plums I will freeze if necessary to use for a big batch of Worcestershire sauce, because they make an amazing Worcestershire sauce. And then we try and eat the nectarines. All the apricots have been dealt with because we did that apricot jam, which turned out a lovely colour. It's probably a little thin, but I'm going to use it as glazes anyway. It's that apricot, see, it's just it's not quite set up like a jam. I had a real lot of trouble getting it up to 105. And I should have done it in the Thermix. I didn't think about it, but anyway. So we've got that, and I'm going to use that as glazes on some brioche and things like that, I think. So the apricots are mostly done. There's still about a dozen in the fridge that are right for eating. There's some in the freezer. There's the apricot jam. Plums we need to deal with, peaches, nectarines. Mangoes were fairly only just ripe when we got them, so I need to go through them and make sure. But let's get some of these peaches in the oven so that they're roasting while I do the broccoli, though I am going to make a syrup to roast them in, because this is one of these recipes is a roasted peach ice cream. So we are going to make a syrup that the peaches gets poured over the peaches before they get roasted. So I'm just doing it in the Thermix, and it's actually a Thermix recipe. I found a few different recipes, but I did find one in the Thermix, so that just makes it easier. Now I've just washed this bowl, a little bit of water in it. And I need some water, some sugar, honey, lemon juice, just to make like a glaze for the peaches while I'm roasting them. So I'm just going to put that together first and cook that off, and then I'll grab the peaches. Unfortunately, the peaches are not like the apricots, and they are clingstone, which makes them just that little bit more challenging to peel. It's not too bad, but it's not the easiest thing in the world either. If you cut them in half along the equator rather than along the seam, you can quite often twist one half of it off, but you leave a fair bit of flesh behind. And then if you take that top piece into the other pieces, you can generally get it off, not always, and I just mangle it. We're roasting it anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And I want to get as much flesh off the pip as possible, so we're just going to continue to do that. It is 39 degrees here at the moment, or was last time I checked, so it's really rather unpleasant. So we're just going to work through it, and I'm doing it over the pan so that any juices that I squeeze out while mangling them is going into that pot as well. Now when I just went and grabbed some peaches, I grabbed some of the ones that came with the hamper, but obviously they had been chilled prior to being given to us, and 39 degrees, they're not looking real great. So they might be going to the animals. The ones that I bought are a lot firmer, though they're still ending up mush in my hands, aren't they? But anyway, I'm going to do about 16, 20 of these, get a tray full, pour the syrup over, and put them in the oven. All right, so I've got about 20 odd peaches here halved. I've got the syrup that I made with the honey, lemon, sugar and water. I doubled it because I doubled the amount of peaches, but that seems like an awful lot of syrup, but that's fine. We're going to roast these now. It's going to be the base for the ice cream anyway, so that extra liquid's probably part of that, since I'm following a recipe, but I haven't even looked any further ahead. But anyway, so I'm going to put these in the oven to roast. Now, because they were clingstones and I have so much extra flesh on the pips, I will probably make a peach syrup as well, though I might freeze these ones and wait, because I probably have to do something else with more of the peaches, whether they get frozen or whatever, because we're just not going to get through it all fresh. And I haven't decided what I'm doing with the rest of it yet, so I might just freeze those ones rather than make the syrup right now, and then I can make a bigger batch of the syrup later. So I'm going to get these in the oven anyway, and then I'm going to get moving on the broccoli. All right, so now we will do the broccoli. So I've got these fridge containers. These are just Kmart ones. We line them with a little bit of paper towel, which helps to absorb any moisture, because the broccoli is in a box that was full of ice, so there's now water in it, so there's a fair bit of moisture. So we don't want that moisture for it to just sit in that moisture. So I will probably, when I get to the bottom of this box, it'll be even wetter. I'll probably need to change the paper towel out in the containers that it goes in, because there will just be too much moisture sitting in the bottom. So all I do is I cut the heads in half, just to make it easier to get more into the container. The more open faces that you've cut, the more places that it has the potential to go brown. So the less you cut it is actually best, but I still only have limited amounts of containers, so I still have to be able to fit it. Now I keep the stems and everything because I use them in stir fries, so everything goes in. Because I use it all, and I just find the pieces that will fit in each container with a lid on. We do stack them so the lids don't have to be super secure, and most of my lids actually have broken clips anyway, so they go on and they can't clip on anyway, so I just put them like that, and then I put the next container on top. And that's enough, because broccoli needs to breathe anyway. You don't want a completely sealed container for broccoli. It goes bad quicker. So if you use the Tupperware containers or these veggie containers or whatever, you actually leave the vents open for them, because it lasts longer that way. Now I find that so long as I get it in these containers early enough, and this is still lovely and fresh and crisp, then I can get 3 to 4 weeks of life out of this broccoli in these containers. So it's absolutely totally worth the money and time for these containers to put it all in there, because it extends the life exponentially. So I'm going to just keep going, fill the containers. I think I've got 4 containers here. There should be another one somewhere if I need it, but I will use some for dinner tonight as well, so I can leave some out for that. All right, I got 4 of these containers full, and we've got 4 heads, which is fine because I'll use these tonight. I'll do a stir fry or something for dinner, so I'll use these 4 heads tonight, and all the rest can go in the fridge for use over the next couple of weeks. I do have more of these containers, but I just couldn't find any this morning. I think one of them is actually inside somewhere catching rainwater. So anyway, I will get these in the fridge. These will just pop in the fridge like this, because they're only going to be there for 24 hours, if that. And that's the broccoli done. Something else that I had to do that I didn't think to turn the camera on while I was doing it, I'm waiting for those peaches to finish roasting, was my apple scrap vinegar. So I don't know how long ago it was that I mixed this up. Weeks. So I put all my apple scraps from, so it would have been the last shopping trip. I don't know, all my apple scraps in some sugar water with a bit of a SCOBY from a previous apple cider vinegar, and they've been sitting on the bench with a cloth cover since then, and I just strained all the solids out of them. So now we've got it without the solids in it. It smells lovely and vinegary, but not quite vinegar, like it's still got a sweet tone to it. So now what we do is we're going to cap them with a solid lid and leave them for another couple of weeks, and I'll have all this worth of apple scrap vinegar. There is a couple of different colour variations between jars. I don't know, maybe this one had more red apples and this had more green. Not sure. They both smell the same. There's no funny smells to them. Those smell like vinegar. So I will put lids on them, put them probably in the bottom cupboard, and then I will check them out again in a couple of weeks. So this is apple scrap vinegar. This is not, the acidity level on this is not reliable enough to use for canning, but it's perfect for using in any sort of cooking and things like that. So and for flavour and stuff. Another thing that's just been sitting around waiting for me to do, this is my lemon rinds in vodka that I did to make limoncello. So now I need to strain the rind out, but I also need to make the same quantity of simple syrup to mix with that to make it limoncello. So I got a pot here. I'm just gonna, this was a cup of, I might strain it and check the quantity actually, because it's saying 400 mils, but I think it was only a cup of vodka. It's just that the peels make it feel like it's more than that, but I might strain it just to double check and do the same quantity of simple syrup to mix with it, and then I've got lemon liqueur. The other thing, I haven't checked my miso lately, so I probably need to pull that out to have a look at as well. Look at that lovely colour. So yeah, smells amazing. 250 mils of the vodka there. So I'm going to aim for the same quantity in syrup, so it's 1 for 1. Now I actually just did tip the lemon peel into the pot, and I might make the sugar syrup with that, because that's just going to add more lemon flavour. I don't know if you're supposed to, but I feel like it's going to get any of the excess liquid out and make it that way. So all I'm going to do is better to make a little bit more than not quite enough. So we want about 250. So I might do 150 sugar, 150 water, and we should bring that back up to the 500 ml. I managed to make a mess, but we've got our sugar syrup in with the vodka, and now I'm going to just let it chill, and then we will give it a go at some point. So that one's done as well. So let me clean up and then I'll pull the miso out. And then I forgot to turn the camera on. Anyway, so we have the two misos. Both had a tiny little bit of white fuzzy mold on top, which is perfectly fine to just scrape away because it's a fermented food, it happens. Now, I think this one was the brown rice koji, and it smells like, I want to say almost like Vegemite. And this one's a lot milder, a lot sweeter. So I wasn't sure how they would both go. So all I've done is just scraped off any little bits of white that are present. And I think that this could be ready to go. We've done it for, I think I did it in April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So we're coming up to 8 months. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to sanitize the rims of it one more time, put some fresh covering over it, fresh rice over it, and just leave it for the next couple of weeks, and just see if it gets that last. This smells a lot. I haven't got the camera facing down, have I? This smells a lot stronger than this one, and I just want to see if they come back up to par a little bit. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to sanitize all the rims of flatten it back out, put a salt crust over the top. So we need some salt. Hang on, I'm going to wipe out the insides of the jar first. All right, so I've got some alcohol and some paper towel, and we're going to clean any of the sides of the tubs so that we can make sure that nothing is going to get contaminated. So paper towel and some isopropyl alcohol. Originally the kit came with some alcohol wipes. I don't have any of those left, obviously, so I just want to take it down to the point of the miso so that there's nothing on the sides of the tubs that will get contaminated, just like that. All right, do the other one. Just trying to get it all off the plastic in exposed places. So we're going to put a salt crust over the top of the actual miso, which will protect that surface, but obviously we can't put a salt crust over the inside of the tub. So we're just sanitizing that surface as well. All right, now salt. Just going to sanitize this spoon and use it to flatten everything out so that everything has a flat surface. This one's much softer too. So the brown rice versus the white rice koji definitely seems to have made a difference. All right, done that. Just going to quickly, anything that I managed to, I should have flattened it out before I did it. Now we're going to create a salt crust right up to the edges. Edges are important because they're the bits that end up exposed. So a couple of tablespoons for each one. It will be absorbed by the miso, but I don't mind a salty miso personally. All right, so then what I do is I use a piece of baking paper, very lightly wipe over the surface that's going to be in contact as well. Then I place it in onto the miso, right into the corners. Now we want some airflow in these, so the fact that it's coming up the sides isn't really a big deal. And then we've got our salt weight. So this was on the previous batch as well, so I might just wipe the plastic down, sanitize that as well, and then that weight goes on there, spread out over the top. We will re-sanitize the lid as well, and then we will place that back and leave them out, I reckon, like that. And that will go back in that corner dark cupboard. So I'm going to do the same thing for this one, and then I'll bring you back again in about, maybe just after Christmas, or maybe in a couple of weeks' time when I'm doing those chicken drumettes, because you know what I really like the glaze is a miso glaze on them, so maybe then. But for now, I don't have time to do too much with it, and I think it's going to be fine to be fermenting a bit longer. You can ferment them for years, so it's not going to hurt it. It's just that it's awfully humid and hot here at the moment. But anyway, I'm going to do the same process with this one, get them both back in the cupboard. And this is how the peaches look. Super soft, slightly roasted, all that juice, so that's perfect. So the purpose for these was for ice cream, roasted peach ice cream, but I was going to make all the ice cream in one video, I think, so I won't do that as part of today's video. But yes, this is roasted peaches. It could be used for a lot of things, but one of the things that I was going to use it for is the roasted peach ice cream, which I think sounds wonderful. But that's done. So now let me have a think. Let me think about how I'm going to use these peaches. So I'm going to make the peach ice cream, but a lot of the recipes that I was looking at serve it with some of the peach over the top. My kids are really not into that. Like they love fresh fruit. Cooked fruit's not a huge thing. Apple pie's probably about the limit of it, really. Some blueberry sauces and things like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to puree all of this up with the juice. And then I'm going to divvy it out and see how much I've got. And that's what I'll use towards the peach ice cream, peaches and cream ice cream. And all I think I'll do is I'll make a big batch of my vanilla ice cream. I'll make a couple of those big batches of vanilla ice cream. I'll do a standalone video, a couple of big batches of the vanilla ice cream, and then I'll flavour them in a few different ways. Peaches, I might do some cherries. Similar sort of thing. I'm going to cook my cherries down into a bit of a reduction, I think. Maybe a passion fruit curd one or something like that. I'm going to do that in a day where I start at the beginning of the day. But for now, to store these, I think I'm going to puree them all up. I'm going to leave the skins on. I did think about turning some of them into jam or something, but which I still can do. See, if I puree them up now, gives me options. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it all into the Thermix, puree it up into a nice thick gelatinous mix, and then we'll figure it out. All right, so I pureed it up for about a minute, and we've got this lovely, there's a few chunks in it, but not excessive amount. Underestimated how much was here. I just thought I'd grab that because it was nice and easy and I'd have them all clean, but underestimated how much there was. All right, so we got 2. So these are like, that max fill line is like 700 mils or something. So like 1.2 litres or so, or 1.5 litres or so of peach puree. It's amazing. So for the moment, I'm just going to chill it. And I think I'll start the ice cream factor tomorrow. Now, I do have a bunch just left in the bowl, and the kids are almost out of smoothie pops, so I think I will just make a jug of smoothie pops for the kids as well in this heat. But yeah, I really have some computer work to get done today too, so I'm just trying to figure out what else needs doing. Oh, those passion fruits were the other thing I was going to do today, weren't they? Yes, so let's get these put away. All right, so with the passion fruits, all I'm going to do is scoop them out. I'm just going to cut them in half and scoop them out. Lovely big passion fruits, so it should be a really quick job. And then I will freeze. Might put some just in the fridge to use tomorrow with the ice cream and stuff. So this is all about getting stuff prepped for the treats that I want. I found some really nice sounding white chocolate passion fruit truffles too that I really wanted to try. So I might fill a couple of ice trays, but I might also just put some in a jar in the fridge for tomorrow as well. And if I don't get it all used, it can go in the freezer as well, sort of thing. But I just want to get these all. So these are great. These were a great value because there is just so much flesh in them. Like sometimes when I buy passion fruits and I cut them open, there's so much skin and so little substance that it's a lot of work for not a lot of result. So I'm just going to go through, scoop all these out. My knife needs a sharpen, and then I'll figure out what I'm doing with it afterwards once it's in a place where it's not going to go off. All right, so I'll bring you back once I figure out how much I've got and stuff. Passion fruits are so full that I'm going to make some I said I was going to make some passion fruit curd anyway, and what I'll do is I'll make it now and I can make some ice cream with it, because I don't want to freeze this amount of it. It's just a huge amount, and I don't think I want to can it. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But for the moment, I'm going to, where are my scales? I'm going to make some passion fruit curd because I can. So I want around about 240 grams of passion fruit pulp to start with. There we go. See, that just didn't even like make a dent in it, did it? I want 60 mils of lemon juice. Now I've only got frozen lemon cubes again. I've thrown them in there. Darryl just got back from town and he forgot to give me the lemon juice. Anyway, we want 100 grams of sugar, 200 grams of sugar in here because I'm doubling this recipe. 200 grams of sugar. We want 170 grams of butter. And again, by using the Thermomix, instead of having to do this over double boilers and tempering eggs and all the rest of it, I'm just throwing it all in. And then I will set it to thicken and it will do what I need it to do. So I also need 8 egg yolks. So I'll grab them as well. 170 grams of butter. I'm going to stick this straight in the fridge because I didn't last time. And it melted all over my bench. And then I'll grab the egg yolks. All right, and we got 8 egg yolks, so they go in as well. All right, now I'm just going to tell it to thicken. So there is a mode on here that is thicken. Hit thicken, turn it on. There we go. All right, so now I haven't quite finished all the passion fruits yet, but I need to start putting some of this in some stuff. So Give me a sec. The mix is going in the background. It's probably a little bit loud, but I'm stepping away from it. I just wanted to say, I had a quick look at the pH of passion fruit. Passion fruit is well and truly acidic enough just to be water bath canned on its own. So I've got these little tiny jars, and I'm just going to do some like this. I'm going to just, yeah, it's just over 1/3 of a cup in each jar. Which I should check how much that is for passion fruit curd purposes, like what weight that is. Odd grams. So I think that that'll work for whatever purposes I want to use it for. I am going to put a 1/2 teaspoon of sugar in each one. You don't need the sugar for safety or any other purposes, but I am going to do it because it helps hold the color. Some people use like vitamin C or ascorbic acid or something. I don't have either of those on hand easily. I probably do somewhere, but I'm not sure where. And adding 1/2 teaspoon of sugar works the same way. It keeps the colors really nice and bright and vibrant. I do it with all my berries and stuff that I can as berries only as well. I do have more of these jars, so I might grab a few more, and then I will grab my big ice cube trays and I will freeze the rest into ice cube trays. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to steam can these for 15 minutes, the same as I do any other high acid fruits. We're over 1,000 feet. I'll put their ball lids, these ones, so I'll put them on like I did the apricot jam, and they will be sorted, and yeah, it'll work. Now my passion fruit curd is done. Never looks quite as thick when it's first done, but it sets up really nice and thick with that many egg yolks and stuff in there. So that is done and tastes amazing. So I'm going to let that cool a little bit, and then I'm going to put that in some jars for the fridge, and we will use that on ice cream tomorrow as well. So yeah, a few more jars of this. I'll get them in the steam canner, get my ice cube trays out. I've still got a dozen or so passion fruit to cut up there as well. And then that way I've got a choice. I've got stuff that's frozen, or I've got stuff that's on the shelf, and I can test out both and see how I like it. If I'm not happy with this straight out of the jars, it's not that big a deal, because it can be turned into curd, or it can be pureed into smoothies or something like that. So it's not that big a deal, but at least it gets it on a shelf and, you know, safe and used and not going to be wasted. All right, the jars are on in their 15, they've come up to temperature and gone to 15 minutes. I grabbed some silicone things. So these will have about 200 grams each in them. So that is a good amount for some things, though that curd was 240, wasn't it? So I wonder if I should top them up slightly, and then they'll just be the right amount for that. Because there's enough room. Maybe if I just fill each of them, then that will be, I may not even need anything else to freeze. I was going to do some smaller ones too, though, just so that I had some small amounts if I just wanted a little bit for something, just for the topping of something, or you know what I mean, just to have options. Now you can do a bunch of things with passion fruit skins. The pith is high in pectin. You can use them to make jams. From everything I understand about making a jam out of the pith, though, is it doesn't taste like passion fruit. It just ends up being a sugar-based jam, and really that doesn't very much appeal to me, honestly. It just, you know, so I am just going to give them to the chickens. They're high in fiber, high in antioxidants, and all the rest of it. I'll probably give a few to the pigs as well. It's a good treat for them. So we will spread it out across all the different pens so that no single pen gorges too much. And yeah, do that. All right, so I've just decided that I was going to spread it out across this. So I've got the 3 larger pieces here, and then I need to find a lid for this little one, but this smaller one as well, in case I just want like a tablespoon for something. For whatever reason, I just want to be able to do it if I want to. So that's done. All the skins, jars nearly done. I just need to find something to put the curd in, and then I need to get the jars out. And I might leave it there for today. I think I've done most of what needs to do. I really need to look at the nectarines and the plums next, but it's getting late and I'm going to have to start dinner. It's 4:20, so I'm going to have to start dinner shortly, so I don't think I'm going to do anything else with the fruit for now. All right, I just wanted to show you, this is how thick the curd's got just a bit while I've been doing everything else. So it and it's still pretty hot, so it'll get even thicker as we go. Now, just splitting it into jars. I'm not sure exactly what I'm doing with it yet. The seeds have sunk to the bottom, so some has more seeds in it than others, which is fine. I definitely will add some to ice cream, but yeah, I don't know about the rest yet, so I'll get it in the fridge and then I'll make decisions. All right, and we're going to finish off the day with dinner. So I'm going to make the crispy noodle chow mein, Cantonese style crispy noodle chow mein type dish. So I've got broccoli. I'm just going to cut it into some smaller florets. I've got some, pardon? Broccoli. I've got some, Kavik really likes raw broccoli, so when I'm cooking it, he likes to grab some. I cut up a little bit of asparagus as well, and then I've got a big bag of pak choy, which was bought purposely for this dish, which is why we're having it nice and quick from the grocery. If you want some spring onions in yours, you can grab some out. And I could put some carrots in it as well if I wanted to, but we're just doing a mix of all the different veggies. I'm just going to cut them all up first, and then I'll cut the chicken up, and then we'll get started and mix up the sauce afterwards. So just taking any tough bits off the stems and slicing these nice and thin too, because they make for really good stir fry pieces, and I'll bring you back. But for the moment, yeah, just getting all the veggies and all the, you want some spring onions? Okay. All the veggies cut up, chicken cut up, we'll start getting it fried off.
I can eat this in less than 10 minutes.
Really? Don't, because it's for dinner. Yeah. Alright, so I've cooked off the chicken in a bit of garlic. It's got a little bit of the marinade sauce on it as well, and we're just going to start adding veggies to it. This wok probably isn't quite big enough for me to do it all in one batch, but I was being overzealous. We'll see. So hard veggies first, and then I'll add the spring onions and the pak choy afterwards. So we're just going to stir fry it all through. Once it's all mostly cooked, we'll add the sauce on it. Darryl is frying off the crispy noodles for me as well. The sauce has some oyster sauce, some Shaoxing wine, soy sauce, a bit of cornstarch, chicken stock, pepper, that sort of thing. Basic sort of a Chinese style stir fry sauce. And I'll show it to you once we serve it up. This is all cooked up. We've got the crispy noodles, so now we just need to pour some over it. Have you got is there a serving spoon? Alright, so we've got our fried noodle cake, and then top it with some noodles and sauce, and that's our chow mein style crispy noodle dish. I really enjoy this one. It's one that I really like. I'm glad I found these noodles, because I didn't know you could buy them for a long time, so I'm really glad that I found them. But we do apparently you can freeze them. I haven't tried it yet, so I tend to just eat them in the first week or two that we get home from the groceries. That's it from me for today. So I'm going to go and eat my dinner and edit the video that needs to come out tomorrow, and I will see you tomorrow as well.